A questionable decision. Yo, what's up? It's someone that's known, and welcome back to today's report. And happy Thanksgiving. This report was sent in by A, where he took LSD and THC on Thanksgiving. And here's the full report details. Alright, so this may be one of our first Thanksgiving specials we've ever had for this channel, but I promised the bro I would read his report out. I'm sure you can tell by the title, but this is a time where A dropped acid on Thanksgiving break with all his family around. And it wasn't just like they were stopping by. His whole family was staying at a lake house. A was naive and thought he could drop a half tab no problem, not even considering how things may go with his family. And personally myself, I really don't like having to hide I'm on a psychedelic, so I really just see how bad this situation can be. But you'll just see how this unfolds. I'm sure you'll enjoy this, so without further ado, let's dive right into it. Hi guys, I've been an avid listener of my boy Someone That's Someone for a few years now, and I've always thought about submitting this report. The day has finally come where I'm ready to recount my story of one of the most dumbest decisions I've ever made. Taking LSD on Thanksgiving break with my entire immediate and extended family present in the house at the time of ingestion. So a little backstory. At this time in my life, I was fascinated with tripping and the unique altered headspace LSD gives. It was in my sophomore year of high school, a few months before all the crazy shit started happening and COVID took off. When I heard that my family and I would be going to my lake house in Michigan, in the middle of the woods, for Thanksgiving break, I thought this would be the perfect time to drop some LSD and be surrounded by the beauty of nature, and maybe take in some lessons. I'd take out my couple tabs I had left and figured that I would take a small dose, half a tab, since I wanted to be functional and enjoy the trip without an ego death or too much crazy shit. I just wanted a light, mellow trip with some nice visuals, while staying in control of my mind. Little did I know how hard just a 75 microgram dose can make you trip. We get to Michigan and I'm already anxious to drop. I figure in my immature head that it's a smart idea to take acid, even though my entire immediate and extended family will be at the house. This doesn't really cross my mind though, and I grabbed the half tab and put it on my tongue, anticipating the effects. At the time, Travis Scott was my favorite artist, and I remember I couldn't wait to listen to the song Skeletons and just trip out. It was about 6 p.m. I go up to my 12-year-old brother and tell him what I just did. He doesn't believe me, so I show him the half tab on my tongue, which he looks bewildered. "You need to be my trip sitter today. Make sure I don't do any dumb shit," I said. "What's a trip sitter?" asked my little brother, who I shouldn't even been doing this shit around. I explained to him all the effects I would be experiencing, so he doesn't react in a weird way when he sees my state later on. I also wanted to make sure he was prepared to help me if I needed it. After about an hour or so after I dropped, I head into our hot tub with my little brother. Let's call him Jay now. After about 5 minutes in the hot tub, I start feeling the acid kick in, and it kicked in hard. Way harder than I ever thought it was possible for just 75 micrograms. It starts to feel like I can't keep my balance, like everywhere I sit is slippery, and the jets in the hot tub are pushing my body everywhere like I was lifeless. This is a very hard feeling to describe. It felt like I was drowning, but above the water. Jay starts to laugh and says, "You're gonna be so fucked when we have to go inside." This instantly made me anxious and tuned out the Travis I was just listening to. Instead, I started thinking about the fact that I had to talk to my family in this state. The 75 micrograms I thought would be mellow. It just kept intensifying. Jay goes, "Bro, what the fuck? Your eyes." And I look at myself in the Snapchat camera, and yes, my pupils are fucking huge. Fuck. I take a deep breath, get out of the hot tub, and walk inside just to be greeted by my great uncle immediately at the door. I will never forget this eye contact we made when I walked inside. It seems as if he looked directly into my soul and knew I was tripping. Jay noticed the same look from him. It was so weird. From that moment on, since that eye contact, I believed everyone in the house knew I was tripping. My family was having a big political argument in the living room, but at the time, it just seemed like words with no meaning and a bunch of shouting. This made me even more anxious, and I awkwardly got a glass of water to avoid talking to anyone. I just prayed no one talks to me. "There he is. How are you?" says my grandpa. I forgot what I said back, but I'm pretty sure I hardly made any sense because he just looked at me and laughed like I was joking and walked away. Just when I thought anything couldn't get worse, my grandma asked my stance on whatever political shit they were talking about, and I didn't even know what to say. Everyone in the room, my parents, cousins, aunts, and uncles, all looked at me, and I was the spotlight. My brother Jay looked so nervous because he didn't want me to get caught. I kept asking them to repeat the question because it literally sounded like jumbles of words and emotions with zero meaning. For some reason, when my brother Jay asked it to me, I understood him. He was my savior this whole trip. I just said, I agree with Dad, or something along those lines. In my warped reality, I was convinced my parents knew I was tripping, but didn't confront me about it because the rest of my family was there. Jay grabbed my arm and told everyone he needs to show me something on his Xbox in the other room, and that we'll talk about this later. He saved me. We walked up to the guest room with his Xbox set up, just talking. I'm going to keep the rest of this short because I feel like this is getting long. I remember the rest of the night, I was just coming in and out of reality. Apparently, I was throwing a baseball up and down while lying on the bed. In one throw, I even just let it hit my face with no reaction. Jay was doing an amazing job keeping me grounded though, constantly saving me from getting caught time after time again when someone would come in the room and start conversating. After just sitting in the guest room with Jay for a few hours, avoiding everybody and watching him play video games, it was getting time for bed. I just kept thinking the whole time, how is it possible for 75 micrograms to be this strong? After a while, the effects slowly decreased, and that's when I thought it would be a good idea to hit my dab pen to make myself more tired. This just made everything crazier, obviously. I remember looking into the mirror and smirking, looking at the reflection of myself and thinking that I've been here a million times before. This is just another rebirth. The bathroom floor patterns came alive, and it felt like I stepped into a new portal every time I took a step. I started feeling anxious again, and lay next to my brother Jay for comfort. He was the only thing keeping me grounded as I slowly felt like I was losing my ego and sense of reality and time again. I remember looking at his face and seeing a monkey, a detailed visual of a monkey. But instead of a regular monkey, it was a monkey fitting all of his facial features and looked exactly like him. It evolved into his face in a matter of 3 to 5 seconds. I just remember telling him he looks like a monkey, and he was extremely confused and started laughing. He played music, and when I didn't like something, he would skip it and try to keep me grounded. I told him I loved him and that he's the best little brother ever, and I would have been caught without him. The music kept me grounded, and his presence made me so comfortable in that state. I ended up getting tired and going back to bed, staring at closed-eye visuals until I passed out. Moral of the story is, appreciate your brother if you have one. And don't take acid when your whole family is home. I was so close to being caught, it's crazy how no one besides him knew I was tripping. Looking back now, I should have never done this around him. It sets a terrible example, and that's something I always try to be good at as an older brother now. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace and love.